Hey everyone, welcome to Lorae in Monterrey. Today we are stepping into something far deeper than a celebration, something that lives at the intersection of history, culture, spirituality, and love. Today we're talking about Día de los Muertos in Oaxaca City. Nothing quite compares to being in Oaxaca during Día de los Muertos. As October fades into November, the air itself begins to change. You smell copal incense drifting through the streets. Marigolds, or cempasúchil, as they're called, appear everywhere, their bright orange petals lining sidewalks, altars, and doorways. Candles begin to glow as the sun sets, and slowly the entire city prepares, not for a party, but for a return. To fully understand Día de Muertos, we have to go back. Thousands of years before colonization, indigenous cultures like the Aztecs, Zapotecs, and Mixtecs believed that death was not the end of life, but a continuation. The dead were still present, still connected, still part of the family. Then, in the 1500s, Spanish colonizers arrived and brought Catholic traditions and observances, All Saints' Day on November 1st and All Souls' Day on November 2nd. These days were meant to honor the dead through prayer. But instead of replacing indigenous beliefs, they blended. And that incredible fusion created what we now know as Día de los Muertos. In 2008, UNESCO recognized Día de los Muertos as part of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, not just because it is visually stunning, but because it represents one of the most profound expressions of how humans understand life, death, and remembrance. So every year, on November 1st, Mexico honors children, Día de los Angelitos. And on November 2nd, it honors adults for Día de los Muertos. And during this time, the belief is that loved ones return. At the center of this tradition are the Ofrendas, or altars, as we say in English. Not decorations, but invitations. You'll often see multiple levels representing the earth, the spiritual realm, and the journey between them. Every single element has meaning. Marigolds guide the spirits home. Candles light their path. Copal incense purifies the space. Water quenches their thirst. Salt cleanses the soul. Papel picado represents the fragility of life. Sugar skulls remind us death is part of life. Photographs call the specific spirit being honored. An ofrenda is a message that says, "You are not forgotten. Come back. We are waiting." You can see ofrendas all around the city during Día de Muertos. Elaborate public altars are often displayed around the Zócalo. Many hotels, restaurants, and government buildings also create large public ofrendas throughout the week. Some of the most memorable displays can be found in neighborhoods like Xochimilco and Jaletlaco, which are stunning to walk around at any time of the year, thanks to their colorful buildings and cobblestone streets. But during Día de Muertos, they become even more magical, filled with marigolds, candles, music, and community altars honoring loved ones. One of the most iconic figures you'll see everywhere this time of year is La Catrina, an elegant skeleton woman often dressed in elaborate clothing with a wide-brimmed hat. She was created in the early 1900s by Mexican artist José Guadalupe Posada as a form of satire. La Catrina mocked members of the Mexican upper class who tried to imitate European fashion and culture while denying their own indigenous roots. The message was powerful. No matter your wealth, your status, or your appearance, death makes us all equal. Years later, Diego Rivera transformed La Catrina into a national symbol of Mexican identity. And today, she has become something even more meaningful. Not a symbol of fear, but of acceptance. A graceful reminder that death is not something to hide from, but a natural part of life itself. A popular tradition during Día de Muertos in Oaxaca is having your face painted like a Catrina. You'll find face painters all around Oaxaca City, especially near the Zócalo and Santo Domingo. Many artists set up small booths in the evenings, while some salons and makeup artists offer full, elaborate, full-face designs with flowers, jewels, and traditional touches. Simple face painting can cost around 150 to 300 pesos, while more detailed or professional looks can range from 500 to over 1,000 pesos. If you're not a fan of having your face painted, you can opt for buying a floral crown. There are many vendors all around the city offering both natural and artificial floral crowns for purchase. Food plays a central role in Día de Muertos because memory lives in the senses. During the days leading up to November 1st and 2nd, the city fills with the smell of roasting chilies, fresh tortillas, chocolate, incense, and mezcal. Families spend days preparing special foods that are placed on ofrendas to welcome the spirits of loved ones back home. One of the most iconic traditions is pan de muerto, a soft, slightly sweet bread often flavored with orange blossom and decorated with strips of dough shaped like bones. You'll also see colorful sugar skulls everywhere, made from sugar and decorated with bright icing and embellishments. They symbolize loved ones who have passed and are one of the most recognizable symbols of Day of the Dead. Food stalls and markets throughout Oaxaca overflow with traditional dishes like tamales wrapped in banana leaves. And Oaxaca's world-famous mole, especially mole negro, a rich sauce made from dozens of ingredients, including dried chilies, spices, nuts, seeds, and chocolate. It can take days to prepare. Another favorite during the season is Mexican hot chocolate, traditionally made with cinnamon and chocolate and whisked until frothy, often served alongside pan de muerto in the cool evening air. Visitors will also find tejate, an ancient pre-Hispanic corn and cacao drink, sometimes called the drink of the gods. There are also endless opportunities to sample Oaxaca's famous mezcal. During Día de Muertos, mezcal is more than just a drink. It becomes part of the celebration, shared among friends and family as people gather to remember, honor, and celebrate the lives of those who came before them. One of the best things about being in Oaxaca during Día de Muertos is that some of the most magical experiences happen when you simply wander. No plans, just walking through the city and letting the celebration unfold around you. During this time of year, Oaxaca feels alive on every corner. The heart of everything is Oaxaca's Centro Histórico, especially around the beautiful Templo de Santo Domingo de Guzman and the nearby Zócalo. This area becomes the center of the celebration, filled with elaborate public altars, colorful sand tapestries, parades, live music, street vendors, markets, and endless activity. Every plaza, museum, hotel, restaurant, and government building seems to create its own unique ofrenda. The energy here is vibrant, festive, and constantly changing from day to night. Just about a 10 to 15-minute walk east of Santo Domingo is the neighborhood Jaletlaco. It's one of the most charming neighborhoods in the city. With its cobblestone streets, colorful murals, flower-covered doorways, cafes, and quieter atmosphere, Jaletlaco feels a little more intimate and romantic than the busy centro. During Dia de los Muertos, the neighborhood becomes incredibly atmospheric, with candles flickering in windows, altars tucked into courtyards, marigolds lining the streets, and locals gathering outside to celebrate late into the evening. It's one of the best places to simply stroll with no destination at all. About a 15 to 20-minute walk north of Santo Domingo is the neighborhood Xochimilco, another beautiful traditional neighborhood known for its artistic spirit and strong sense of community. Xochimilco feels less touristy and a little more authentic and local. The streets are quieter, the decorations often feel more personal, and the celebrations tend to feel deeply connected to the neighborhood traditions. You'll find colorful homes, hidden altars, musicians, candlelit gatherings, and some of the most beautiful street photography opportunities anywhere in Oaxaca during Dia de los Muertos. Honestly, some of the most unforgettable moments happen between destinations. Turning down random side streets, hearing a brass band in the distance, stumbling upon a neighborhood altar, or finding an unexpected parade making its way through the night. One of the most exciting things you may unexpectedly encounter while walking around Oaxaca is a comparsa. A comparsa is a lively neighborhood parade and street celebration, filled with music, dancing, costumes, giant puppets, lanterns, and non-stop energy. Brass bands often lead the procession, while locals and sometimes visitors follow behind, dancing through the streets late into the night. Some people dress as skeletons or la catrinas, while others wear traditional clothing, masks, or elaborate face paint. Comparsas can feel spontaneous and joyful, weaving through neighborhoods like Jaletlaco and Xochimilco as entire communities come together to celebrate life, memory, and tradition. One moment the street may seem quiet, and the next you suddenly hear music echoing through the cobblestone streets as a parade comes around the corner. One of the most breathtaking experiences during Dia de los Muertos in Oaxaca is visiting the marigold fields of bright orange cempasúchil flowers stretching across the countryside just outside the city. In the weeks leading up to Dia de los Muertos, the fields burst into bloom, creating some of the most stunning landscapes in Oaxaca. Many visitors choose to go around sunset when the golden light makes the orange flowers almost glow. One popular area to visit is near San Antonio Castillo Velasco. It's about 45 minutes south of Oaxaca City. Here, several family farms open their flower fields to visitors during the season. You can visit independently by taxi or private driver, but many travelers prefer booking small guided tours that combine the marigold fields with local villages and Day of the Dead traditions. Most half-day tours typically cost around 800 to 2,000 pesos per person, depending on transportation, group size, and how many stops are included. And by the way, if you're planning a trip to Oaxaca, I also have another video all about tours, day trips, and all of my favorite things to do in and around Oaxaca City. I'll link that video in the description box below. One of the most powerful experiences you can have during Dia de los Muertos is visiting the cemeteries. It's important to understand that these are not tourist attractions to locals. They are deeply personal places of remembrance. It's where families gather to spend time with loved ones who have passed away. What makes the experience so moving is the atmosphere. Candlelight flickering across graves, marigold petals scattered everywhere, live music echoing softly through the night, families sharing food, telling stories, laughing, praying, and simply being together. It feels emotional, beautiful, and surprisingly full of life. One of the easiest cemeteries to visit within Oaxaca City itself is the Panteón General de Oaxaca. Located just south of the Centro Histórico, this cemetery often has elaborate altars, music, and a lively atmosphere during the evenings of October 31st and November 1st. It's very accessible if you're staying in the city and gives visitors a meaningful introduction to the traditions. Many people begin arriving before sunset, but the atmosphere becomes especially beautiful after dark when the candles are lit. Outside the city, one of the most famous places to experience Dia de los Muertos is Santa Cruz Jojocotlan, located about 20 to 30 minutes south of Oaxaca City. Jojocotlan is known for its incredibly atmospheric cemetery celebrations. Families decorate graves with thousands of marigolds and candles, and musicians often move through the cemetery playing for families gathered at the tombs. Another beautiful option is the cemetery in Sachila. It's about 30 minutes from the city. Many people feel that Sachila offers a slightly more traditional and more local experience. It's especially well known for evening comparsas, community celebrations, and candlelit cemetery gatherings that continue late into the night. And while the evenings are definitely the most famous and visually dramatic times to visit, visiting during the daytime can also be incredibly special, and it's much calmer. During the day, you can walk quietly through the cemeteries, admire the elaborate flower arrangements and altars, and observe families preparing graves with marigolds, candles, photographs, and favorite foods for their loved ones. The atmosphere feels more peaceful, reflective, and less crowded, which can sometimes allow for a more personal and respectful experience. If you do visit the cemeteries, it's important to go respectfully, speak quietly, avoid using flash photography around families, and remember that you are witnessing something sacred and deeply emotional for the people of Oaxaca. If you are planning to visit Oaxaca for Dia de los Muertos, one of our biggest tips is to book everything super early, especially hotels, Airbnbs, and flights. Oaxaca is one of the most famous places in all of Mexico to experience the celebration, and accommodations, especially near the historic center, often sell out months in advance, with prices increasing dramatically closer to the holiday. It's also a good idea to arrive a few days before November 1st and 2nd so that you can really experience the build-up, public altars, comparsas, markets, and evening events throughout the city. Expect large crowds, especially at night, so wear comfortable shoes, carry cash, and be prepared for lots of walking. If you plan to visit cemeteries or nearby villages, or to book any tours. We recommend booking tours and transportation ahead of time because things fill up really fast. Now, Moy and I didn't do that, but we speak fluent Spanish and we just hired taxis to take us places. But if you don't and you really want to get on a group tour, you should book them ahead of time. Most importantly, remember that Dia de los Muertos is deeply meaningful for local families. Visitors are truly welcomed warmly, but it's important to be respectful, especially in the cemeteries and during private family moments. Dia de los Muertos teaches something that many cultures have forgotten, that death is not something to hide from, that remembering someone keeps them close, that love does not end. If you ever get a chance to experience Dia de los Muertos in Oaxaca, come with an open heart, because you won't just see it, you'll feel it. And you may leave with a completely different understanding of life and death and everything in between. Thanks for watching Lorae in Monterrey. I'll see you in my next video.